So hello everyone, good afternoon, how are you all? So guys, here we are starting with our biology section and today the topic is excretory system. So basically how the waste is excreted out from our body, what kind of waste is generated, all these questions are repeatedly asked in the examination, so we'll be starting with it. But before that, I just wanna know who all are present here. So Pawan and all the candidates who are present here, just a single second, let me check the clarity. Okay, so I guess now everything is okay. So I'm starting with my session, fine? Done. So I guess now it is clear. So it's refreshed. Fine. So the topic that we are going to discuss is excretory system. And yes, in our body, it's not only the urine that is generated as a waste, it's the sweat also. Apart from that, there are other things as well. So let's say we are, oh, it is still a blur because on the YouTube it's clear. I don't know why. Let me check. On the YouTube it is coming correct. One second. Let me check here. Mhm. Guys, are you sure? Achha, it's clear now, na? Fine. Okay, fine, fine. So I'm starting with the session now, finally. Okay, so guys, the topic was excretory system. And now, first of all, let's understand the waste that is generated from our body, that is urine. So this means the waste will be uric acid, right? So the waste which is generated in the form of uric acid, these organisms are known as uricotelic. If the waste is generated in the form of urea, that organism will be known as ureotelic. And if the waste is generated in the form of ammonia, that is known as ammonotelic. So yes, based on the classification of the waste generated, the organisms are categorized in three different parts. So first of all, what is excretion? So excretion is a process by which the waste is eliminated from our body, where we can take the perfect example of the kidneys, and not only the kidneys, we can talk about a skin also, because from the skin sweat is generated. We can even talk about our lungs, because the waste that is generated from our lungs is in the form of carbon dioxide, which is a gas. So excretion is the elimination of metabolic waste materials like ammonia, urea, and uric acid from our body. And the animals from which ammonia is generated, they are known as ammonotelic. If uric acid is generated, it is known as uricotelic, and uricotelic is the one in which the urea is actually generated. Fine. Now here, oh, what has happened? Shiv, Manishma, and all the other candidates, are you able to see me? Because there's a one candidate who has actually joined the class now and he's saying that he's not I'm not audible and not visible also. Fine. So guys, if comments come like this, so you can just respond there. Fine. Okay, so talking about the types of excretion again. So here we were talking about fishes, frog, and birds. They all excrete the waste in different types. So first of all, if I talk about the type of waste that is in which ammonia is released, that particular part was known as ammonotellus, and in this the waste which is secreted, it's in the form of ammonia. So the process of excretion of ammonia is known as ammonotelism basically. So ammonotelism animals includes the aquatic invertebrates, aquatic insects, bony fishes, aquatic amphibians. In short, most of the aquatic animals are in the same category because they are going to generate the waste, that is ammonia. Fine. Now see, this ammonia is highly toxic. In our body also, there's a gland that converts ammonia into urea. Do you know what is it? That's basically the liver. So liver converts the ammonia into urea, and yes, because of the same reason we are ureotelic, because urine contains the water and the urea, right? That's why we are ureotelic. We'll discuss about it. But as of now, ammonia is highly toxic, so excretion needs excess of water. And since excretion needs excess of water, so most of the aquatic animals are ammonotelic only. So ammonia is readily soluble in water and excreted by diffusion through surfaces or the gill surfaces, which is there in the fishes, and it's in the form of ammonium ions. So kidneys do not play any significant role in its removal. So it's not the role of kidney. And for the same reason, ammonia is converted into urea in our body in the form by the help of liver. Okay, so here all the organisms from which ammonia is released. Here you can talk about the nidira's category, you can talk about prawns, you can talk about starfish, you can talk about salamanders, you can talk about fishes. They all are a monotelic organism. Fine. Now ureotelism. We people. So we people release urea. So the process of excretion of urea is basically the ureotelism. Then ureotelic animals includes cartilaginous fishes, terrestrial and semi-aquatic animals like amphibians. We talk about frogs and all, aquatic and semi-aquatic reptiles, and the most important thing, mammals, because we all are in the category of mammal only. Okay. Now in liver, as discussed, this is the important point. In liver, ammonia is converted into the less toxic urea. So within our body, this ammonia is converted into the urea with the help of liver. It was the question from previous year paper. So wherever I mark these stars, please try to note it down, or please remember, because I'll share this PDF to you people for the revision purpose. But yes, it needs only moderate quantity of water for the excretion. And what happens, whatsoever we are drinking, let's say we are drinking milk or water, that water is actually mixed with the waste which is present in the blood and excreted out in the form of urine. That we'll understand about it later on. So here, some amount of urea may be retained in the kidney matrix for some animals to maintain a desired osmolarity. So here's the formula for the urea, and I guess you all are aware of. So all the organisms which are ureotelic, here we can include the dolphin also, because dolphin is a mammal. Please remember, dolphin is a mammal. You must remember this. Apart from a tiger, you can talk about crocodile, which are actually the reptiles, tortoise. They all are ureotelic animals. Guys, I have a question here. Although I'll teach you in this in the animal and plant kingdom, but still, guys, this crocodile is in which category? Is it amphibian? Just tell me yes or no. This is very important question basically. Crocodiles are not, please mark my words, crocodiles are not amphibians. Crocodiles are actually reptiles, and most of the candidates get confused here and they give the no wrong answer. That's correct. So Bhumika, Shambhavi, Bindu, please remember that crocodile is not in the category of amphibian, it is actually a reptile. So yes, snakes and crocodiles, they come under the same category. That's the part of animal kingdom I have told you right now. Fine. Next. Now let's talk about the uricotelic. So these are the organisms which will excrete uric acid, right? So yes, it is insoluble in water. So water is not required for the excretion. So here, uricotelic animals includes the insects and some of the land uh, crustaceans, land snails, terrestrial reptiles, and the birds. So birds are in the same category. Okay, so this is the formula for the uric acid, and all these parts, they are actually in the category of annelids. So sorry, in the category of arthropoda. Arthropoda is one of the largest phylum of the animal kingdom. So they all come under the uricotelic. Okay. So ureotelism and uricotelism are needed for water conservation. Next. Now let's talk about the excretory organs in the animal. So we have different animals with different categories. So here it's important to understand, as obviously we people, that is the mammals, that is higher animals, require kidneys for the excretion. But you must remember, platyhelminthes, rotifers, and some annelids. Acha, annelids includes what? So in the annelids, earthworm comes. So earthworm and all, they all have excretory organs, that is flame cells. Here you can link it with the protonephridia. If I talk about annelids specifically, so nephridia, insects, Malpighian tubules. This is asked in the examination previously. Then you can talk about prawns and all. So they have antennal glands, or we can say it is a green gland. Okay, so that's done. Proceeding further, now let's talk about kidneys. So guys, our body's waste, which is there in the form of urea, ammonia was already converted in the liver into the urea. Now this urea and all the waste which is there in the blood, it is filtered by one of the important gland of our body. What is it? So that important organ is actually kidney. Within the same kidney, there are n number of filters. There are millions of filters. You know what are they? They are nephrons. So nephrons are basically the functional and structural unit of kidney, via which this particular blood is actually filtered out. Now, how this functions, let's understand about it. So guys, in the whole structure, here you will find two kidneys, then we have two ureters from which urine passes. We have a urinary bladder here. So that's the whole combination via which this waste is actually excreted out from our body. So one by one, let's understand about it. So it's the time for human excretory system, and what was included there as discussed. So here we have a pair of kidneys, we have a pair of ureter, we have urinary bladder, and finally we have urethra. Acha. For the males, urethra is actually common for sperm's passage also and for the urine's passage also. So in the males, please remember, urethra serves as a common pathway for the passing of both sperms and the urine. So here, yes, that's the structure. So we have a pair of kidneys. These are the pair of ureters. We have a urinary bladder here, and this is the urethra from which the urine and the sperm actually passes. This part is clear. Proceeding further. Then, so here, first of all, talking about the pair of kidneys. So these are the kidneys. So this is the internal view of the kidney, in which we have this medulla, pelvis, cortex, right? And this is the inferior vena cava. If you remember, we have discussed this in the blood human circulatory chapter, that the blood with the lesser amount of oxygen used to come from superior vena cava, right? Superior or inferior vena cava, and that was deoxygenated blood. So the blood with the lesser amount of oxygen that used to enter the heart, then it used to go to the lungs. From there, the oxygenated blood used to come again from the pulmonary vein, and it used to enter the left artery, sorry, left atrium, then the left ventricle, and finally via aorta towards whole the part of the body. So here, this is actually the renal artery and renal vein which is present here. Okay. Now let's talk about the structure of the kidney. So where is it present? So guys, it's linked from the back portion. Why I have actually used this image? Let me give you the example, guys. Have you ever suffered from kidney stone? So kidney stone creates the severe pain. It's a severe pain which sometimes is unbearable. And when someone asks you where is that pain, so you normally say, sir, it's here, right? So why here? Because obviously kidney is present there. So what happens? Because of the deposition of the calcium oxalate, because of the formation of the calcium oxalate, this particular pain is developed, Trisha. Okay. So that particular pain is very severe, and that's because of calcium oxalate. And because of the same reason, doctor suggests that for next 7 or 10 days, by the time you will be having your medicines, do not have any tomato or spinach. Why? Because tomato and spinach has oxalic acid, which will be helping in the formation of calcium oxalate. So calcium oxalate is the main reason behind the formation of kidney stone. That is again the question which was asked in your previous year paper. Fine. Proceeding further. So yes, here we have reddish brown bean shaped structure which is enclosed in a tough 3-layered fibrous capsule. So this is the fibrous capsule, and it looks like a it looks like the pulses, right? You can link it with the rajma basically. Okay, so it is situated between the levels of last thoracic and the third lumbar vertebra. What is the length? So its length is approx of 10 to 12 centimeter, width is 5 to 7 centimeter, and thickness is of 2 to 3 centimeter. What is the average weight? So the average weight of each kidney is approx 150 grams. So it's approx 120 to 170 grams, but on an average that's 150 grams. Okay. Now more about it. So on the concave side of the kidney, there's an opening that is hilum or hilus, through which blood vessels, nerves, lymphatic ducts, and ureter enter the kidney. So this is the portion. So can you see? It's the structure in which there's some gap. So we are talking about the same gap that is known as hilum. And this is the location via which these particular blood vessels and all the other things are entering in this kidney. Fine. Next, proceeding further. So hilum, that was this portion, that is the internal one. So it leads to the funnel shaped cavity that is known as renal pelvis with the projection known as calcis. So here we have the renal artery which is present here. Okay. So this is what renal pelvis is. So it's mentioned, clearly mentioned here. Then proceeding further. Now guys, this was the renal pelvis. That's the minor calyces. That's the major calyces that's present here. Now a kidney has outer cortex and inner medulla. So that's the outer cortex, right? And then you will have inner medulla, which is present here. Okay, so medulla has a few conical projections which are known as renal pyramids projecting into the calyces. So cortex extends in between the medullary pyramids as renal columns, that is known as columns of Bertini. Okay, so that is the medullary pyramid that's mentioned there. So that's the renal column. Now here, that is the structure of the nephron. What were the nephrons? Nephrons were the functional unit of kidneys, and yes, it is the one because of which the waste or the byproduct that is known as urine is created. So what is it? That's the structure and functional unit of kidney. So each kidney has millions of nephrons. So each kidney has nearly 1 million tubular nephrons, and 1 million is approx 10 lakhs, right? So nephrons are structural and functional unit of kidney as discussed. So here we have this loop of Henle. This is the descending limb. This is the ascending limb. That's glomerulus. This is the Bowman's capsule, and this is the location where ultrafiltration takes place. Okay, so this is the structure of nephron. Here, each nephron has two parts: glomerulus and renal tubule. So glomerulus, that's present here, right? And here, now let's talk about them in detail. So glomerulus, that's the structure. So this is the afferent arteriole, this is the efferent arteriole. So what's the difference? This A and E. So we'll be discussing about the same in the nervous system as well. So the nerve that used to take the signal, that was afferent, and which used to take back, that was efferent. So the same concept is here: getting in, that is via afferent, and getting out, that is via efferent. Okay. So glomerulus is a tuft of capillaries formed by the afferent arteriole. So blood from the glomerulus is carried away via an efferent arteriole, that is away from here. It will get in from there. Okay. Next. So here, talking about the renal tube, so it begins with a double-walled cup-like Bowman's capsule, which is in the starting. Here, that's the Bowman's capsule, which encloses the glomerulus. So glomerulus plus Bowman's capsule is actually Malpighian body, that is renal corpuscle. Here, in the renal tubule, so from the structure it will be clear. The tubule continues with the PCT. What is it? That is proximal convoluted tubule. So here, just see, this is the proximal tubule that is mentioned here. So that's the whole structure via which this waste is actually generated. That is, I'm talking about the urine basically. Fine. Okay, so that's the descending limb as discussed as it is going down, and this is the ascending limb that is coming up. So here we have this Henle's loop and distal convoluted tubule, that is DCT. So Henle's loop is hairpin shaped. It has descending and ascending limbs. Then the DCT of many nephrons open in the collecting duct. Okay. So here the DCTs of many nephrons open into the collecting duct. Here the collecting duct extends from the cortex to the inner parts of the medulla. They converge and open into the renal pelvis through medullary pyramids in the calyces. So that we have discussed in the very starting where these calyces were. Okay, so Malpighian body, PCT and DCT are situated in the renal cortex, and loop of Henle dips into the medulla. So from here, the final urine that is actually passed via ureter, and after reaching the ureter, it there are two ureters which actually combine with the urinary bladder, and in the urinary bladder that urine gets collected, and finally from that urinary bladder via urethra urine is passed out, which I told you that is serving as a common pathway for both what, for the sperm also, and for the urine also, for the males, and for the females it's just the urine passage, right? Any questions till here? So that I can actually explain you other things also, because there are other important things as well. We have different organs in our body by which different kind of waste is generated. So I have to teach you about skin also now. Skin is left, large intestine, then we have other organs as well. So as of now, is it clear how this kidneys was functioning? So this part is clear, right? So guys, I'm just fine. I'm just turning off the video for a while, downloading another PDF. One second. Yeah. So what we have discussed. So first of all, here we discussed that what is excretion. So it is an essential process in all the living organisms so that they can be healthy. That is maintaining a healthy body. So in order to maintain the homeostasis and to prevent the damage to the body, we need to go with this process. So there are certain organs by which waste are generated. So waste is not just urine. We have just discussed about the urine. There are other waste as well. So what kind of waste? So waste which are generated by the process of metabolism. So they are actually the byproducts of metabolism. So let's say we're talking about carbon dioxide. So how it is generated? So whenever we breathe in, there are a lot of gases that gets in, right? But the oxygen that is getting into our mitochondria, glucose breakdown takes place because of the reaction with the oxygen, and carbon dioxide is formed as a byproduct. So that carbon dioxide is actually a waste for us, right? So via lungs, this carbon dioxide is generated. So it is one kind of waste. Another one, ammonia and urea. So they are created from what? So ammonia and urea, they are actually formed because of the protein catabolism. So because of the protein catabolism, these ammonia and urea are generated. Yes, within our body, the ammonia that was generated is converted into the urea with the help of liver so that it is not harming our body. Then uric acid is formed from the nucleic acid catabolism. So all these kind of waste are removed from different organs, right? So what all are those organs? So let's talk about those important organs. They all include the skin, from which waste will be generated in the form of sweat. We have liver, which is approx 1.4 to 1.5 kgs, that is converting the ammonia into the liver, sorry, ammonia into the urea. Large intestine, the water that was there along with the waste during the phase of digestive system. So that water's absorption is taking place in this large intestine only. Then we have lungs. Lungs are the ones from which carbon dioxide waste is generated. And finally kidneys, for which we have already done the discussion. Now, first of all, let's start with the skin. So what is it? It's the part of integumentary system. By the way, let me take some doubts. So Bindu is asking something. So where will we'll be getting this PPT? So Bindu, the location at which you are seeing your class now, by the side of that lecture only, you will find this PDF. And thank you, Pawan, for the confirmation. Okay, so getting back to my point. So yeah, talking about the skin. So this is the layer of the skin which is present here. So the topmost part is the epidermis layer, but the second point that is mentioned here is dermis. So this is basically the dermis part. Okay. So excretion through production of the sweat by the sweat glands in the dermis layer. So here when the sweat is generated, it includes what? So this sweat includes NaCl, that is the common salt. It also includes the urea and it includes the lactic acid also. Because of the accumulation of this lactic acid only, we feel tired. So in the examination, this was asked in the examination previously. So lactic acid, sorry, the question was the reason of fatigue is dash, and one of the option was due to accumulation of the lactic acid within the muscle. So lactic acid in the muscles, they make us feel tired. Okay, next. So talking about the liver, so liver was doing what? The liver was actually converting the ammonia into urea, and also it excretes the bilirubin, which is the byproduct of hemoglobin catabolism. Here, I want to give you one more example. Pavan, are you aware of this issue that is jaundice? Manishma, Rohit, Deepen, anyone? So here, this jaundice is the issue in which our whole body gets yellow in color, right? So here, not only our eyes but also our skin will become yellow. And what is the reason behind it? So once our body gets yellow in color, we'll visit doctor. So doctor will say just go with the blood test. And when this blood test will be done, you will find that the content of bilirubin has increased in your body. So because of that increased content, doctor will say do one thing, that have little amount of salt. If possible, do not go with wheat, right? So there are some suggestions which are given there. So that's all because of the issue in the liver only, where if bilirubin's content gets higher, you will suffer from jaundice. So in the examination, there's a topic that is diseases. From here, the question is asked, jaundice is the issue that's linked with which of the following organs? And the one of the option will be liver. So that's the point. Acha, Pawan, you have suffered from that. So that means everyone can link it. Okay, fine. Then we have large intestine. So what it does? So large intestines are the ones that eliminates the salt waste by absorbing the water. So it only and only just absorbs the water And once the water absorption is done, its work is also done. So it eliminates the solid waste that remains after the digestion. Yes, what it does, it extracts the water from the indigestible matter in the food waste. That's the work of the large intestine. Proceeding further, lungs. So they are responsible for the excretion of gases. Which gaseous waste? I'm talking about obviously carbon dioxide. But one of the most important question is within the lungs. So this is actually the trachea portion, right? Yani ki, what is it? This is the windpipe. So windpipe is divided into two different sections. One goes into the right lung, another one goes into the left lung. So here, first we have primary bronchi, then we have secondary bronchi, then we have tertiary bronchi. In short, in the extreme end, you will find the terminal bronchiole. And in those terminal bronchioles, you are going to find these sac-like structures that are known as alveoli. What are they? They are known as alveoli. And these alveoli are actually responsible for the gaseous exchange. This alveoli is responsible for it's responsible for gaseous exchange. That's again the question from PYQ. Okay, done. Then talking about the lungs and kidneys function. So the lungs we have discussed it in the respiratory system in the past class also. So lungs are important part of respiratory system as well as excretory system. And the excretion of gaseous waste takes place from this particular location itself, right? So yes, lungs, here waste gas is excreted by the lungs and that is carbon dioxide. It is the waste product of cellular respiration. Now what is cellular respiration? The respiration process which we were discussing in the past class. Whenever we'll be breathing in, the oxygen was taken to the mitochondria where glucose breakdown was taking place. So that part is taking place where? In the cell. That's what is mentioned as the cellular respiration. Any doubts guys? Any queries? Any questions? Anything? So Bindu, Uma, Manoj, Manishma, Pavan and Destiny drivers and all the other candidates whose name are not there on the screen also. So you all can ask your doubts. So we have Taslim here. So Taslim, I'm already taking the lecture in the English medium part and Divakar is here. Fine. So everything is okay? Okay. So this is clear. Now guys, we have already discussed about the kidney. So I'll just take the brief idea here. We'll directly move to the urine portion because the questions are asked from the urine. What are its composition? Why is it yellow in color? All those questions are asked. So yes, in the kidney. So kidney is actually the main organ of the human excretory system as discussed. So kidney is present in pairs. But human survival is also possible with just a single kidney. Yes, with just a single kidney, human survival is possible. So, sir, what if both the kidneys are not working then? See, what is the role of kidney? Kidney is helping in the purification of the blood, right? So that is just a normal, or we can say that's the process that is dialysis, right? In which blood is actually purified. But if your both the kidneys are not working, you need to go with the artificial dialysis, and that's done in the hospital. And here, this dialysis process is actually quite typical. It's quite complex, right? It is difficult, especially in the old age people, to regularly go for the dialysis process, and that's why people have different issues with it. But in short, yes, a single kidney can actually be helpful in the survival of the human being, so there will be no issue. Proceeding further, what was the length of the kidney? So that was 10 to 12 centimeters, and average weight was 150 grams. So in the whole structure, we have two kidneys, two ureters, one urinary bladder, and a urethra that's present here. So we have discussed all these things. So I'll just proceed further. We have discussed about renal capsule and all DCD, PCD. Yeah. So now, guys, the waste that is generated is known as urine. If this urine is made up of what? So obviously, water, that is the excess water which is there in our body, it gets mixed up with the waste and that is known as urine. So it consists of the water, but apart from water, there's urea also, that is the main two important constituents. Then we have electrolytes and other waste. So what all are those waste? So yes, we have 95% of the water, 2% of the urea, 0.35% of the sodium, 0.6% chloride, 0.15% potassium, 0.25% phosphate, 0.25% sulfate, 0.1% creatinine, and 0.05% uric acid. So what was the main constraint? The main constraint is present here, that is the water and the urea, right? Now guys, in this composition you can just see the color of the urine is yellow in color. So what is the reason behind this yellow color? So guys, have you seen the logo of Google Chrome? If yes, so guys, you will find the yellow color, the red color and all. So from those Google Chrome, you can link it with a term that is Eurochrome. What is it? Eurochrome. So Eurochrome is the one that is responsible for the yellow color of urine. Eurochrome is actually responsible for the yellow color of the urine, right? Okay. And one more thing, what happens guys is sometimes it happens, let's say you are having some medicines and because of those medicines there might be the change in the color of the urine. So yes, if you'll just check the urine sample, and if you are getting the report of the same, so you might find the changes in the value because of the intake of the medicines. And sometimes it happens that if your syrup is pink in color, your urine might come in might be there in the pink in color. Okay, so Pawan want to say something? Yeah, so that's right. So that's what it is mentioned here. So some medicines and drugs are excreted in the urine and it can be found in the urine, and that's why in the urine report these all things can come. Okay, but now there are some issues which are linked with the urine. What are, sorry, the issues which are linked with the kidneys. So there are some kidney disorders. First of all, it's glomerulonephritis. So it is the inflammation of the glomeruli. Second is hydronephrosis. So see, from the hydro term we can link it with water. With water. So hydronephrosis, what is it? So it's the water in the kidney that is caused because of urine flow. So basically it's the blocked urine, that urine is unable to flow. So water in the kidney caused by the blocked urine flow, that is hydronephrosis. Then we have pyelonephritis, that is here what happens, the bacteria is actually spread in the bladder, and when bacteria spread, so it leads to an infection. Achha, do you know the issues which are caused because of bacteria, they are known as bacterial infections. The issues which are caused because of virus, that is known as viral infection. So yes, that's the example of the bacterial infection basically. Then we have kidney stone. Kidney stone usually it forms in the kidneys, but it can also form anywhere in the urinary tract. That's possible. So what is the main reason behind the formation of kidney stone? So what was it? That was calcium oxalate. Calcium oxalate. Calcium oxalate is the main reason behind the formation of the kidney stones. And yes, because of its formation, doctor suggests that do not have spinach or tomato. Why? Because spinach and tomato both have oxalic acids. Fine. Okay, so any questions still here? Pawan, Uma, Manoj, Bindu, Manishma, and all the other candidates who are present in the class. Any questions, any doubts, any queries? And by the way, can you all please tell me from which location have you joined here? Because I have not interacted with you people today. Actually, this was parallel on the YouTube as well, so was unable to interact with you people. But I want to know from which location you people are. So are you all from the southern part of the India? So yeah, so we have Evan here from the Bangalore. Okay, Shambhavi is there from Delhi. Bindu is from Karnataka, and Uma is from Tamil Nadu. Okay, and Pavan is from Telangana. Pavan, I know about you. Nishant is from Prayagraj. Okay, that's UP. Trisha is from Andhra Pradesh, and Rupika is from Vizag. That is Visakhapatnam. Then we have Arbor here from Meghalaya. Okay, so we are from Andhra Pradesh as well. Sushma Hasan. Okay, Siddharth is from Noida. Siddharth, I know about you. Yeah. Meenakshi is from Karnataka. Abhijit is from Kerala. Then we have Chitra from Manipur. Sushma Karnataka. Okay. Then we have Sahana from Karnataka. Naresh is from Telangana and Bhumika from Delhi. Okay. So we have whole India connected here, right? And let me tell you, I'm taking lecture from Agra as of now. So sometimes it's the Bangalore, sometimes it's Agra. So that's great. So it would be great if I'll when I'll be connecting with the current affairs session now. So the things which are linked with the static GK and all. So it would be great that I can take your names and ask about your locations. Okay, fine. So coming back to our points. So here I was talking about this calcium oxalate. So calcium oxalate is the main reason because of which the kidney stones are formed. So guys, as discussed, we must remember the acids. Actually, it is very common question in CGL that it's asked in the form of match the following part. So let's say milk. Which acid is there? Lactic acid. Apple, malic acid. Butter, butyric acid. Then oxalic acid, that is in tomato and spinach. We have already discussed. Then we have grapes and tamarind. What is that? Tartaric acid is there. So yes, you must remember these sources and their names. So we have discussed this in the chemistry. But the candidates who have joined from today, you will be getting my chemistry lecture also. We'll take that live lectures. And yes, we'll discuss that there. Okay, so as of now, calcium oxalate is the main reason behind the formation of kidney stone. Then, kidney failure may be because of acute or chronic part. But guys, there are two main things. There is tumors and cancer. And we all are here who have actually heard about it, but we have some slight confusion of what exactly it means. So when our body was formed, that started developing from the cell only. So from the father we had the sperm cell, from the mother we had the egg cell. So guys, when our body structure was formed, it started from the cell. When many cells of the similar types combined together, they formed tissue. And when many tissues combined together, they formed organ. And finally, the whole organ system was made, right? So this is actually the step by which our whole body's generation has taken place. Here, cell, which is the basic unit of our life or the basic unit of our body, if it divides, that's totally okay. That's a common way by which we are actually repairing or healing our body. But what if these cells are dividing uncontrollably? That means if it is an uncontrolled cell division, that is what cancer is. So that uncontrolled cell division, if it is taking place in a mouth, that will be mouth cancer. If that uncontrolled cell division is my kidney, that will be a kidney cancer. So that cancer just means that it is the abnormal division or the uncontrolled division. Okay. What about tumor? So tumor is linked with the tissue that is abnormal growth in the tissue. So abnormal growth in tissue is referred to as tumor. Okay. Then we have nephrosis, that is kidney failure. So basically, these are the issues which are linked with the kidney disorders. Okay. Then skin. So guys, skin's primary function is what? So see, from the skin we have sweat generation, that is a waste. But what is the primary function of it? So primary function of the sweat is to give you the cooling effect. So yes, primary function of the sweat is to facilitate the cooling effect on the body surface. And yes, this is the structure of the skin in which we have the sebaceous gland. Can you see this? Sebaceous gland. So here we have this waxy like structure. So all the female can actually link it, but guys, we as a male must also know about it, because whenever you will be getting married, you will surely go to Goa or some other places, especially those places in which directly sun rays would be coming. So you need to use sunscreens and all in order to keep your skin safe and sound. But do you know, is there any natural means by which our skin remains safe and sound? What is it? So that's the wax generation that takes place from this part only. So yes, those waxes which are generated from the sebum part actually keeps your skin safe and sound. And that's here it's mentioned. So sweat and sebaceous glands in the skin can eliminate certain substances through secretions, and that's mentioned here. So sweat produced by the sweat glands, that is the watery fluid that contains NaCl, small amount of urea, and that is lactic acid. So this is actually the waste. But what about the safety? So sebaceous glands eliminate the sterols, hydrocarbons, and waxes through the sebum. So this secretion provides a protective oily covering for the skin. And the best location you can actually link it is here. You can just touch this part and you'll find that there's some oily stuff. So that is actually keeping your skin safe and sound. Okay, so that was all about skin. Then that's all from our chapter. So what we have studied today is the time for the revision. So what is excretion? So excretion is a process by which we are able to maintain the homeostasis, that is, we are safe and sound. Now, there are certain organs from which waste are generated. So the organs of excretion are skin, from which sweat is generated, liver, ammonia to urea, large intestine, water absorption, lungs, carbon dioxide, and kidneys in the form of urine. Then, skin excretes through the production of the sweat. Here, one more important thing, the sweat included the NaCl, the urea, and the lactic acid. Lactic acid is the reason by which, because of which we feel tired. Then, liver, it converts ammonia to urea. It also excretes the bilirubin, which is a byproduct of the hemoglobin catabolism. Then, large intestine, it eliminates the solid waste that remains after the digestion of the food. As it absorbs water, only solid waste is left. Then, lungs, the excretion of gaseous waste from the body, and that's exactly carbon dioxide. Then kidneys, the elimination of excess of water and waste from the bloodstream. So from the bloodstream, the excess of the water actually does what? So that excess of water is included with the waste that was filtered out from the blood, and that's excreted out using with the help of this kidney only. And what are those filters? So that filter is your nephron. Nephrons were present in the millions of amount that were helping in the this waste generation. So basically, because of this waste generation only, or the excretion process only, we are able to live safe and sound. So that's all from my end. So guys, is there any question, any doubt or queries? If there is, please let me know. Or else, if everything is clear, I'm just sharing this PDF, and I'll share some of the questions also so that you can practice. So along with this PDF, you will find some of the questions, and please practice them so that you can judge yourself that how many things were clear here. So Srisha, Bindu, SFK, okay, Uma, everything's clear? Okay. So thank you guys for being such a wonderful audience. We'll meet in the next class now. So in the next class, that is tomorrow, we'll have another chapter, and again we'll discuss each and everything there. And yes, since it was your first class, so it's totally okay, but from the next class onward, if you people faced any doubt, any queries, anything, so how we can link it with another thing, so is any trick to remember the same, whatsoever comes in your mind, please ask, do not hesitate. Fine. So thank you guys, thank you so much, bye bye guys, take care, Jai Hind, love you all, please take care.